Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to day 2 of the 14-day Vloggerino self-love challenge. Today's prompt is talk about 5 romantical movies that give you the feel and make you believe that the fairy tale is alive. This first one is one that I immediately thought of. It's from 1957, I think. It's an oldie but a real goodie. It's Deborah Kerr and Cary Grant. It is the original An Affair to Remember. Sleepless in Seattle was loosely based on An Affair to Remember. So what happens is Cary Grant, Deborah Kerr, they're on a cruise and they have a relationship on this cruise. As it turns out, they're both engaged to someone else. So they make a plan that I think like 3 months later or 6 months later, they're going to meet at the top of the Empire State Building and begin anew. And so he's there, but she's not. So months pass, and I don't know how he ends up at her apartment, but he ends up at her apartment and he walks in and she's an artist. And he walks in and she's just laying on the couch with a blanket on her legs and she's not getting up or anything. And then he notices this painting on the ground and he doesn't, on the floor, and he doesn't, and he's thinking, why isn't this up? Well, then he pulls the blanket away and she's paralyzed. And what had happened was she was crossing the street and she was hit by a cab. So she hasn't been able to go. And this whole time he thought, oh my God, she gave up on this and maybe she's married. Maybe she's married because he had gotten out of his relationship. And and then so they begin anew, and it was when he realized when it was she would have been there, but she couldn't, but she still loved him. Such a great movie, just such a great movie. So An Affair to Remember, 1957. So that's one of them. Another one that I loved was The Way We Were with Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford. And she played Katie, he played Hubble. They were opposites, and believe that they met once and then nothing happened. But then in college they met again and they started dating. And he wanted to be a screenwriter, and she was an activist. Like, she was an activist with politics. And there was this one scene where she was walking home from work and he was sitting outside of this bar or something, and he was sitting there and he looked so handsome. He had on this cable knit sweater and it was cream with the blonde hair. He looked so handsome. And they end up getting together, and she gets pregnant. Yeah, she gets pregnant, but then he has an affair with his college friend. And eventually they end up moving out to like Hollywood so he can pursue his dream. But because she's an activist, she's like blacklisted and it affects him. And then The Way We Were, I believe that was like 1973 or something like that. And I don't remember these off the top of my head because I remember that stuff. I looked this up yesterday. So another one that I love is, now, I will preface this by saying this movie has my all-time favorite actor in it, and that is Mr. Tom Hanks. The movie is You've Got Mail. I could watch that, and I do watch that movie every time it comes on TV. Absolutely love the combination of him and Meg Ryan, and just the story, although I'm not that big a fan of the last line when she says, I so wished it was you. I kind of didn't like that, but I mean, I loved everything about that movie. The fact that it was set in New York City, which is a amazing city, and in fall with that Cranberry songs playing, and just I loved everything about her. I loved her hair, that cute little pixie cut, and I loved her her styling and that her outfits in that movie. And just whenever he realized that he really did love her and he was going to set out to like win her over. And then before they meet, you know that she was just like, this whole time she was falling for him. And I love it. I just love that movie so much. Okay. Next movie we're going to get to is starring Ryan Gosling. Now wait, it's not the movie you think. It's not The Notebook. The one I'm talking about is La La Land with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Fantastic movie. It's a perfect movie. The dancing, the cinematography is beautiful. The soundtrack, the music in it, despite the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of jazz, the soundtrack is great. The writing, fantastic. But that's a movie that, like, I'm not going to say what happens, but that's a movie that, like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, why did that have to be the end? But now I understand why it had to be the end, because in order for both of their dreams to happen, the fairy tale had to their fairy tale had to die for their dreams to happen. So it's all about compromise. So, I did. I might have to watch it. I might have to watch that movie when I'm done with this, because it was just like a love letter, and it was just like a love letter to Hollywood, to Los Angeles. So, now, the last movie that I'm going to bring up is, I don't know what year it was from. It was when I was younger. It was probably like in the late 70s or the 80s. And it was with Robbie Benson and some blonde lady named Holly. I can't remember her name. If I can, I'll put it like here or here. But it was Ice Castles. It was the story of, he portrayed a hockey player who was kind of on the rise a little bit. He was, traveling with this hockey team, minor league, trying to like make it. And she was a figure skater, and they were from a small town. And she had been trying, I guess, to catch somebody's eye. Well, as it turns out, she caught the eye of this big time highfalutin, is that a word? Highfalutin, female figure skating coach who was very well known. And so she took her under her wing and did all this and did all these things to help her out. And so suddenly her star was on the rise, as his was descending. But then with that she changed herself a little bit. And so they were at this party that was being thrown for her. And she just wanted to skate. And there was a skating rink below where all of these like outdoor steel chairs were, and they were chained up. So they wouldn't like blow away or whatever. And she went downstairs and she was skating, and she didn't see the chain, and she fell to her head, and she was blind. And suddenly everything that she had, because she was going to be going to the Olympics, everything that she had was gone. But he showed up, Robbie Benson shows up, and, gets her back, gets back with her and is like, come on, you got to keep doing this. And her father is like, you can't give up on this and this and that. Oh, it was such a great movie. I cry every time I watch that movie. So, An Affair to Remember, The Way We Were, Ice Castles, La La Land, and You've Got Mail. So those are mine. Those are the ones that give me all the feels. So I would like to know what everybody else's is. Put it down in the comments. And yeah, I would love to know which ones give you all the feel. Everybody have a great day. And remember, when you put love out there in the universe, it comes back to you always. Bye, guys.